Sunday. He's in a new town, trying to make it big, trying to make it up.
James Dean continues to fascinate Americans. The man made just 3 movies before he died tragically, but he's a legend, no question. And there is a place in Central chasing after rock stars who are often, well, let's just say they have a few rough edges. We sent downtown Julie Brown to investigate what some are calling the Beauty and the Beast syndrome.
The model is the star of the moment, and the rock star is the star of the moment. And why not get together?
And they are. There's Billy Joel and CHRISTIE Brinkley, Rick Ocasek and Paulina, David Bowie and Iman, Rod Stewart and Rachel Hunter, and John Mellencamp and Elaine Irwin. The list goes on and on. So, what's the attraction?
Glamour, money, fun, parties, sex, you know.
The hottest couples around, rock stars and models. They meet on the sets of music videos, at parties, and at trendy hangouts, like this one, the coffee shop in New York. Well, I decided to check out the steamy chemistry between these real-life beauties and their rockin' beasts.
I think they have a similar lifestyle. I think they're constantly on the go.
Joey Hunter is a honcho at Ford Models, which has many girls on their roster who have hooked up with rock stars.
I think they've got similar demands on each other, so I think that's what makes it work. As we know, the fashion business is like the rock business. You know, you've got a hit one day, and the next day you don't have a hit.
Jerry Hall was a top Ford model who went on to marry none other than Mick Jagger.
We've had a great time, and he's awfully sweet, and he's a very, very good father.
I never really set out to marry a model. I mean, I've set out to sleep with models. I never set out to marry a model. That was about the last thing on my mind.
But that's just what happened to Jani Lane of the band Warrant. He started his relationship with model Bobbie Brown while making the video Cherry Pie. They now have a baby girl.
I actually saw her on Star Search. I didn't know exactly how to go about meeting her, so I thought, well, you know, we're going to do this video for the new record that's coming out. This might be a good opportunity. So I found out who her agency was and called him up and asked her if we could meet.
He was interesting to me, but I had a boyfriend.
Oh.
So I wasn't a cheater, but, you know, when we broke up, he asked me out, and I said yes.
Yeah.
I think it can help the model's career by the PR because it gives them a lot of exposure.
I've always been working, so it wasn't like I started working just because I was with him. I've always been working and doing.
Jerry Hall's relationship with Mick Jagger hasn't hurt her career. Since she hooked up with the bad boy of rock and roll, she's worked as a designer and an actress. But making a name for herself while being Mrs. Jagger isn't easy.
You know, he's so incredibly famous and things, been around so long, that it's only natural that people would, you know, make comments about me being with him. But it doesn't bother me now. I'm very proud of him.
When a rock star and a model team up, it's double the money, double the fame, and double the power. But keeping a relationship going in this glamorous world can be a real challenge.
Models are constantly traveling, whereas a rock star goes on tour maybe once every few years. A good model, a top supermodel, is on tour all the time.
I met up with CHRISTIE Brinkley backstage at one of her hubby's gigs.
Well, it must be hard to live with right now, being out on the road for so long. How are you coping with that?
Well, it's hard living without him right now. Then, of course, the whole cycle starts again. Get in the mood to write, record, recover from recording, and tour.
A busy schedule is not the only problem to contend with. With 2 stars, there's bound to be 2 delicate egos.
Even when you get married, I think the focus is still on yourself.
Tonight, my husband's being made into a living legend, and boy, is he going to be murder to live with after this.
I don't tell her how to pose for pictures or you know, how to do a particular video or whatever, and she doesn't tell me what kind of music to write.
And what if one half of the pair becomes more successful than the other?
It's going to be terrifying. Terrifying.
And then, of course, there are the dreaded groupies.
I know he gets hit on by women, or there's fans or groupies or whatever you want to call it that would do anything to get backstage or to meet the singer of the band or whatever. And, You just gotta say, you know, he's my husband, I trust him, I know he wants to be with me, we're in love, and he would never do anything like that. And if he did, we wouldn't be together.
Despite all these obstacles, a number of these model rock star pairings seem to be standing the test of time. Billy Joel and CHRISTIE celebrate their 7th anniversary this year. Former Beatle, Ringo Starr and model Barbara Bach tied the knot a decade ago.
She was a Stones fan anyway.
And Jerry Hall has just had her 3rd child with Mick Jagger.
The models that we represent that are married to rock stars, they've been very good relationships. We haven't had a casualty yet.
So it seems the top models are doing something that was once considered impossible. They're turning the wild animals of rock and roll into loving family men. It's very 90s. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Julie. And it is not all fun and games in that world. Rod Stewart is currently being sued by model Kelly Emberg for $25 million. Stewart left Emberg for another model, Rachel Hunter. $25 million. Kelly must be mad. And Inside Edition will be right back.